What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back for another episode of F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode number 56. This is the British Grand Prix. In the previous episode, we had a contract negotiation with our teammate Sebastian Vettel. We decided to re-sign him for the rest of the season. Obviously, it wouldn't be much of a championship fight if we decided to get rid of our biggest rival, though that could be a cheap way to the championship. However, we don't want to stoop to those levels. Anyway, at the end of the last episode, or in between this episode and the last, we've had some driver transfers. And surprisingly, I actually didn't know about these until we got into qualifying for the British Grand Prix. We'll get into that in a second. But here's the driver standings. We trail by 10 points. Wait, we lead by 10 points. I can't read. 5 wins for me, and we have 5 wins for Vettel. So it's all even Steven at this stage. Looks like we've been slightly more consistent than our teammates, and it's only going to get hotter the further along we get in this season. We did a invitational event, 150 grand and 1,000 driver acclaim. Thank you very much. Moving on through the activity timeline, more resources come in, running costs go out. Sponsor events, even more team acclaim coming in, and we are ready for the race weekend to begin. So, as the title suggests, George Russell is back in Formula 1. But the reason why I didn't know about this is I never, in the messages tab, nothing came up announcing driver transfers. So, yeah, that's a thing. So George Russell has stepped into Formula 1 once again, and I'm not sure if you've noticed which team it is, but it is Ferrari. So George Russell gets booted out of Marduk Motorsport at the end of Season 2. Surprisingly, didn't get a drive. He was a free agent, and then he comes back with a vengeance now in one of the most iconic teams in Formula 1, and he replaces Antoine Hubert, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's the state of play. Hubert, to be honest, wasn't really faring too well up against Charles Leclerc. But George Russell is really going to take the fight to Leclerc, and Ferrari are looking for a bounce back in the constructors. They have fallen down a little bit in the last few races, and so they'll be looking to overtake the likes of Renault and Red Bull. So let's see if they can do that. But we're ready for qualifying now for the British Grand Prix. Practice went okay. As always, pace is not strong around here. This is a really strong track for the AI. So you don't expect any dominance like we saw in the last episode, but let's see if we can at least be competitive. Okay then, so we are ready for qualifying for the British Grand Prix, just racing through the sessions. Q1, no need to really touch upon that. We've got a car that can easily do Q3, so we'll race through that. P10, 6/10 off the pace from my teammate, which is a little concerning, considering that was a decent lap. But we move into Q2, and you can see a big boy mistake, and that was on the recycled set of soft compound tires that were utilized in Q1. So, we've gone for an aggressive... Well, actually, we haven't gone for an aggressive setup. We're using the golden USA setup with altered wings. I think we're running 3/6 wings. So it's still the same balance of downforce front to rear, just lower slightly to account for the higher speed, full throttle nature of Silverstone. But, yeah, just the car didn't like going through cops on slightly used tires. The car is always a little bit more on edge in qualifying at every track we go to, but this one, it seems like the car really is on a knife edge, and that's consistent not only with this setup, but any other setup that I've tried around here. And, you know, we've been using the USA setup for the last few rounds, and you've seen how handy it's been for me at those circuits. I thought I'd bring it here again to my weakest track, well, one of the weakest tracks against the AI, and it seems to be a bit of a struggle at this stage. Put in a bank over 1 minute 21.9 after the spin, and now we're on a fresh set of soft compound tires, and we're not really finding the time to beat the Delta at this stage. It's very nip and tuck. going to go into the green potentially as we go through the fast S's section. We need a good time here because we're actually on the bubble of being knocked out in qualifying. You can see we're in P8 and a lot of people are crossing the line. And we are falling further and further down the list as people are improving. P10 now. Ricardo, P10 now as we're dropping to P11. He's on the medium compounded tyre. We're down in P12 now. People keep improving. And we're only up by a tenth, maybe 2 tenths as we go through the final sector of the lap. And we lost a little bit more time again there. Up to the line, improvement by 0.03 of a second. Doesn't get us into Q3 though. It does not. So for the first time in what has been a very, very long time, we have genuinely not made it through to Q3 on merit, on pace. Missing out by 0.3 of a second there. This is a tough circuit. This really is a tough circuit for the player. And I really don't know what to say. Comparing the sector times against the AI, there was nowhere in particular I was really strong. Running low wings, you'd think I'd be fast in a straight line in the first sector, or second sector really, is where you'd benefit most from straight line. But we weren't fast anyway. We don't have any strengths for some reason. The AI really are OP here. But that's qualifying. We always are stronger in the race. We are running with a slightly older engine because I knew that we weren't going to be competitive here, but I didn't think it would be that bad. Let's go to the race and see if we can salvage this.
Great Britain then, one of only 2 countries to have held a Grand Prix in every single year of the Formula One World Championship. And the circuit extends that record further for today's Grand Prix. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Day. They're starting towards the back of the field today in a car that is fast. So they'll be disappointed, won't they?
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So here we are then for the race in what has been the worst starting position in a long time. And I'm not so sure about salvaging this one. I think a top 5 would be legendary, love a podium. Now to feel like a win. I don't even think we're going to win this race. Honestly. Mercedes have upgraded. Vettel is looking strong once again. And we're running a slightly older engine. I say slightly older. It's about 30%. It's the first column of power unit components. And under normal circumstances, this is not an old engine. But it has done a lot of races. But it should still be pretty strong. And it has contributed a little bit to our lack of performance. But it isn't the main reason. So let's see if we can salvage this. 5 red lights and we are underway for the British Grand Prix. Starting on the harder compounded tyre was always going to be a difficult task, getting off the line well and holding position. But as we go through turn 1, muscling side by side with Pierre Gasly, who was getting really punchy into turn 1. But we managed to hold on up the inside of Daniel Ricciardo, who also didn't qualify well in the Renault. They'll be very disappointed with that performance. Danny Kvyat, we slide around the outside of him and move our way up into P11. And now we are the lead car on the medium compounded tyre. So decided to go this strategy because it's going to be difficult to overtake at the first half of the race. We're not going to have much pace relative to those around us, but as the leaders' softs start to wear out, that's when we're going to come on strong. We do have a good race car. That has always been the case in career mode. And with our ultimate tyre wear upgrades, we should hopefully get stronger and stronger as the race goes on. So it's going to be a bit of a slow burner, this Grand Prix, that's for sure. But if we can pick up any early positions, then that's just a bonus, really. So let's see if we can get signs. Verstappen is up next. It is always difficult to overtake cars when they're in a DRS train. And it looks like we're going to have to forget about overtaking because we're having to defend from Daniel Ricciardo, who goes all the way around the outside at the cop's corner. And he's actually managed to make it stick. Daniel Ricciardo with the move of the season. Maybe the best move ever I've seen from the AI. This is bravery at its finest on the soft compound tyre. Barely hanging on to the racetrack. You can arguably say that was an overtake off the track. But to be honest, that was a move that was so good that I didn't even care. That's he was a bit flexible with the track limits. But there's the replay. Brilliant move from Ricciardo, and he is through now for P11. What a Grand Prix. What a struggle this could potentially be here in Britain. So, let's see if we can hang on to Ricciardo. He looks like he's got a lot of pace. We do not. Esteban Ocon with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. 1 minute 24.2. Ocon has come alive. So that's rather interesting. Up the front, Vettel is not leading. We have 2 Mercedes, 1 and 2. And so that could be a tasty battle that unfolds over the course of the Grand Prix as the Mercedes starts to lose its tyre wear, and then Vettel will hopefully come on stronger towards the end. Hopefully he doesn't do an absolute shocker with the strategy once again. Last time out he used the hards and he fell backwards. Silverstone is a relatively straightforward 1 stop, 2 soft compound tyre strategy. So hopefully Vettel can stick to the game plan in this one. As you can see, Ricciardo moving forward again. He's now dispatched to Verstappen and is now in the top 10. So great job from him. And let's see if he can roll on with that move now. Verstappen going backwards, it seems, as Carlos Sainz going up the inside of Kops. Can't quite make the move stick, and he'll have to bide his time for now. This squabbling is allowing me to get into the party. We might be able to overtake Verstappen in the second here if these two continue to squabble it out. You can see Sainz up the inside into Stowe, and now Verstappen is very weak as we're looking to see who we can jump here as we get the better run between the two. There's 2 cars blocking the road, and we literally can't go anywhere. Sainz with a bad exit out of the last corner. We're using all the overtake, but Verstappen is literally blocking us down the start-finish straight. We go around the outside of Sainz at turn 1, and we are through now for P11 in this British Grand Prix. Please do not re-overtake me. I want to make some progress in this race. It's been 6 laps, and I've only made up 1 place. This is a real struggle, and Sainz is coming back at me. But thankfully, I deploy a lot of my overtake, and you can see the small margin we pulled out on that straight, thankfully. Next up is Verstappen. He doesn't have DRS to Ricciardo ahead, so this should mean we have a good chance of overtaking him. The Red Bull isn't the greatest in the straight line. He is exposed. He doesn't have DRS, and there we go, flying around the outside into Stowe. And we are now in the points in this British Grand Prix. It's only taken us like a quarter of the race to get there. We are finally going somewhere in this race. Ricciardo 2.2 seconds up the road. This is the point of the race where we need to build some momentum. We need to get closer to that next train of cars. They will be making a stop very soon.
We're trailing our teammate by 6.2 seconds. They're on old softs. They're in second. The time last lap was at 1 minute 24.4.
Okay, just confirming the pace of Vettel, 124.4. We're 3/10 off that on our best lap. Last lap was that lap was a 25.0. So we're not as fast as what we should be. We are on the medium compounded tyre. The softs should be dying off at this point. So the balance of power should be shifting in my favor. It is slightly, but only to those nearest ahead of me. Not really making the inroads on, say, the Mercedes or my teammate at this stage. So it's looking like, on a good day, if we have a good finish to the race, it could be top 5. I'm not sure about challenging the podium. This has been, I don't know. Honestly, heading into this weekend, I ran the slightly older engine in the hopes that, yeah, I probably thought I wasn't going to win the race heading into this one, so I took the older engine, and I thought, yeah, I could probably still get on the podium, we'll get P2. We finished on the podium every single race on Season 3 of Career Mode, and it's looking like it would be an absolute victory if we could get a podium and keep that record going. But I'm doing my best. I really am trying here, guys. 21 seconds to the car behind of Esteban Ocon, who is going purple. There are a lot of other teams who have improved quite a bit in the last few episodes. And I guess it's been hard to show that because we've been at tracks that have been really strong for us. We come to a weak one for us, and that strength of field is now starting to show as we're really struggling to overtake the likes of the Renaults, the Red Bulls of the world. Even 1 or 2 of the Ferraris are doing pretty well. George Russell has been up there, so too with Charles Leclerc. But now, the final 10 laps of the race. This is where we really need to hunker down and pull out something special. Because I think once we rejoin on the track, we're going to be around P10, P11. And We're going to have the pace. We're going to have good pace on softs, but we need to overtake cars at Silverstone in DRS trains. It's not going to be easy. As you can see, this is the battle for the lead. Esteban Ocon versus Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton doing the alternate strategy of starting on the mediums, just like me, and then finishing on softs. Hamilton will stretch away and will win this race by a mile now, but for a little while there, Ocon was looking pretty threatening to win this Grand Prix. He's still looking very good for a podium. He is just behind Vettel now, I believe. So, yeah, Vettel makes the move stick on Ocon. Ricciardo in P4, who started in P11 with me. So, Ricciardo driving a sublime race. But we just haven't been able to make the same kind of inroads, unfortunately. We're just lacking that extra, like, 2 or 3 tenths that we need to really romp through this train of cars. It is going to be a struggle from here on in. As you can see, Hamilton 23-0 on the last lap. That's the fast lap of the race. We're on our first flying up ourselves. Let's see what we can do in comparison. Across the line, 1 minute 23.3. So 3 tenths away from Hamilton. There you go. There's that 3 tenths I was talking about that we're missing. And the other teams are so strong, so consistent. They're all slipstreaming each other and pulling each other further along. In a lot of this Grand Prix, I've had to do the work myself in clear air or stuck behind slower cars or whatever. But now is the time to shine. Let's see if we can do that through the very fast S's Maggots, Beckett's Chapel. You can see in the dirty air of Max Verstappen losing a little bit of touch there, but we now have the benefit of the slipstream, the DRS, and now we're going to chuck it up into Rich and overtake. Are we going to go for a last minute move up the inside into Stowe? You bet we are. And we now move ourselves up into the points. Once again, with 8 laps to go, we are now only just in the points. Again, we did give a lot of other teams the undercut, so that gave away a bit of track position, just checking the front wing of Verstappen, as we did run side by side through the Stowe corner. But all fine, damage-wise for me and Verstappen, and we can press on. Verstappen really didn't want to give out that move, did he? And it's fair to see why. He's now got a big fat 0 next to his name in terms of points. We're in the slipstream now of Charles Leclerc. Let's see if we can dispatch of him even quicker. Ferrari isn't the greatest in the straight line. We go up the inside into the very same corner. It's a little less sketchy this time around. And now we have 2 points against our name in the best car. Not really proud of saying that, to be honest. Let's see if we can keep digging ourselves out of trouble. There is Bottas just up the road. In front of him is Alexander Albon, and that's a P6. So if we can get all these 4 cars, then we're starting to look pretty good in this race. P5, sorry, is Albon up ahead. In the slipstream of Norris, he's in the slipstream of Russell. It's going to be 3 wide down the back straight, and we get the move done on both Russell and Norris, but Norris gets the best run out of Stowe. He's going to get me back there. So P7 for Norris, side by side. It's a Vale and Club, and we finally get the job done. What a battle this is turning out to be in this British Grand Prix. We really are struggling in this race, but the struggle is producing some great racing. That was kind of reminiscent of the Schumacher-Hakkinen overtake Spa on the lap car, albeit Russell is not in a lap car. He is in a Ferrari, but he didn't have the DRS, and he was a sitting duck for all of us. Here's the replay, and this is actually a really, really close affair, because as we kind of chop back to the racing line, we nearly, I think we actually touched Russell. Yeah, we did. We grazed his right front end plate, and to be honest, I wish the games would be more realistic. I wish that was punished a little bit more, because in real life that would be a puncture. I'd love to see that element of realism included in, but we've got away with it. And we're in P7. There's the overtake on Norris. Got up the inside. And that was really ballsy driving there. Here's again the replay of George Russell. Poor guy. First race back in F1. Welcome back to the pinnacle of motorsport, George Russell. Let's see how quickly he can get up to speed once again. But he's not doing too bad. He's in P9. I think he's out racing Charles Leclerc at this stage. So doing a great job in his return to F1 is George Russell. But yeah, that Ferrari needs a lot of work, doesn't it? Anyway, into the fast S's, and Leclerc has actually now overtaken Russell, so that's a shame. Anyway, we move on. I just did the Jeremy Clarkson meme without intending to. It's lap 23, and this is the lap where I was really pushing hard to try and catch up and get in the DRS and slipstream of Valtteri Bottas. I did not one, but 2 corner cutting warnings on this lap, and still it wasn't a personal best. But that was the turning point in the Grand Prix. These last 2 or 3 laps here, the tyres have seen their best, and they're starting to go off. You can see I'm low on fuel, so at some point I do need to give up the Ghost and just consolidate what I've got. But actually, I wasn't really low on fuel. I've always been low on fuel. We've been recovering slowly. But the determining factor was actually the ERS. I had to back that off. I couldn't run as much overtake as what I would have liked. We were slowly draining that over the course of the Grand Prix. There's Ocon re-overtaking Vettel for P2 in this race. Lewis Hamilton wins the British Grand Prix. Great job from him there to get some resurgency going for Mercedes. Bottas not having a good day. Only fighting away with Albon for P5, side by side through Stowe. Is Albon going to fight back into Vale? It looks like he will, but Bottas will have the inside for the final 2 corners, and I think he will get P5 in this British Grand Prix. For us, P7, podium streak is over. Terrible day in the office.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Gotta say, a huge congratulations to Esteban Ocon for P2 in the Renault. That is amazing. Out-racing Vettel in arguably the best car. Are we even the best car anymore? That's 2 races now where we've been, I don't know, upstaged a little bit by Mercedes in Austria. Bottas got pole, and today the Mercedes looked like the better race car. Interestingly, Vettel was nowhere, 5 seconds away. Me P7. Pace wasn't good this weekend. Yeah, just don't know what it is. I can't get the flow. I can't get the momentum going here at this track. The AI are really strong here. They carry incredible speed through the corners, and also have really good straight line speed here. I don't know what it is. They've just got a really, really solid package around here, and it's so hard to challenge. Ran 3.6 wings. Didn't even have great straight line speed, and the cornering speed was okay. That's all I can really say. 1 point is the difference in the championship. Vettel is looking to re-overtake me heading into the next Grand Prix, which will be the Hungarian Grand Prix. Thankfully, that's going to be a strong track for us, I hope. High downforce is our strength. We do have a lot of downforce in this car, so let's see if we can make the most of that. Constructors taking a bit of a hit today, I think, but still leading by 182 points, so not too bad. And today, I quoted at the end of the race, this has been a terrible day in the office. Still, though, it's first world problems when a P7 is a terrible day in the office. But that really was a struggle. Really, really was. We were missing that extra couple of tenths. And for those of you who might be screaming at me in the comments, why did you run with an older engine for Silverstone? I knew I was going to be slow here this weekend, or I didn't think I was going to win, so I thought, all right, let's take an older engine. We can still get a podium, I reckon, still consolidate good points, and then we'll set ourselves up for a stronger finish to the season, having fresher engine components later on, and that was going to be my strategy, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad, honestly. So, I do wonder what we would have done with the second power unit column of components. I think we would have got through to Q3. Who knows what we would have been able to do in the race. Overtaking might have been even harder. I don't know. But we would have been closer, and we would have had, I don't know, 1 or 2 tenths better pace over the course of the race. And that adds up, I suppose. So maybe P5 or so would have been on the cards. But it really is hard to say. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see plenty more racing game content. It's just crazy how one race in Austria, we pretty much got the Grand Slam with the exception of pole position. We were dominant in the last race. We turn up here, same setup, same car, and we're nowhere. I mean, that's down to the inconsistency of the AI on this game, but in a way, keeps us on our toes. You never know what you're going to get heading into a Grand Prix weekend. and we'll see what Hungary brings. Hopefully, we can bounce back strong. It's not a particularly weak circuit for us. I think it should be one of the... it should be average. It should be average at best. Maybe a strong track for us. I'll hold my breath now, but we'll see. Heading into the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Championship is hotting up. Mercedes getting stronger. Renault making improvements. If everyone keeps improving and they can get a stranglehold on this championship, then the championship fight may not be over yet between other teams catching up. Lewis Hamilton has a long way to go, and this win today has given him a bit of mid-season confidence that he desperately needs. Anyway, that's it from me today. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.